unstoppable kick-ass confidence. Are you ready?
Welcome to the Raw and Unscripted Show with Christopher Rausch, where we help you overcome your self-created crap without the self-help fluffy bullshit. Now please welcome our host, Christopher Rausch.
What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome back to another episode of the Raw and Unscripted Show with yours truly, Christopher Rausch, the No Excuses Coach. And you are at the place where I help you become unstoppable by eliminating your excuses, your tolerations in favor of having just kick-ass, authentic confidence. Thank you for showing up again. We've been going for nearly 6 years. We're on episode 341. And if you're new to the show, thank you for being here. And if you're a longtime listener, thank you so much for making us so popular in so many countries. I am so blessed. Truly, coming from the United States, I am so blessed to have so many of you from around the world tuning into this podcast, listening to my voice each and every week, and taking what I'm saying and acting on it in your life, because this is the truth. When you show up here and you listen to this podcast, or you watch it every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and you watch it and you listen and you think, hey, there's something I can do. Hey, there's something else I can do. You know what? I never thought about it like that. And that's what we do here, is we shift your perspective about your past, present, and your future to give you that confidence, to give you that clarity, to give you that perspective to say, hey, you know what? What if I looked at this from a victor instead of a victim? What if I looked at this as if, what would I do if I didn't have any fear? What would I do if I wasn't concerned about failing? What would I do if I didn't care about other people's judgment? We answer a lot of questions on this show. And periodically, from time to time, I take your questions and I put them in a show format and I answer them here for you, just to give you that extra added value. But what I also bring here is reality. And I encourage you to go back and listen to listen to the shows this year, especially. There have been a lot of vulnerable shows. There have been a lot of honest shows. There's been a lot of deep dive shows into who we are and our identity and letting go and surrendering and scary shit like that. Stuff that you start to face as you get older, wherever you're at, whether you're black, brown, white, tan, sexual orientation, whatever it is, we're all going through the same shit. You split us down the middle, we're the same. And for the most part, I believe are on this spinning blue marble in space that we are more the same than we are different. So I send love and unity out to you from the United States, from Southern California, and I hope you receive it. And if you're sending it back, I got you. So last week we started part 1 of this series where we were talking about the questions that you wanted answered. And I picked out 10 questions. There was a ton of questions and I combined them and I kind of subheaded them and I made them all into 10 questions. And I thought, no problem. I will be able to answer these in one episode, right? We usually go for 45 minutes to an hour. I got 4 done. Also, we have live interactions and whatnot. So hi, everybody. Thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Dennis Nermella. Thank you, Jacqueline. Thank you, Michael Baker. Thank you, Nil Sanjel. I apologize. And everybody else who's watching this, thank you. You guys watch it live. But last week I answered 4 questions. 4 questions. And those questions that I answered is, what's my purpose in life? What's my purpose in life? So that took a minute. How do I stop caring what other people think? Because a lot of us do. Why do I self-sabotage right before I succeed? Now, I will tell you this honestly, out of all the questions that I answered, I think, and we'll have to go back through the ones that I'm doing tonight. I think that one for me, I'm still going into. Because I believe there are certain aspects and things that I do and excuses that I make that potentially, when I look at it, I'm like, is that a form of self-sabotage? Let me dig into that. And that's what I want you to do. I want you to take these questions and take the content that I'm giving you and say, hey, does that apply to me? How can I see that a little bit differently? And so oftentimes we're like, that's not me. And it's often a reaction because we take it personal. So what if we stop taking things personal? We start looking at it at face value and saying, hey, I might be at fault. There are some growing opportunities here. And when we do that and you grow, it's amazing because you look back and you go, wow, I'm so glad I did that. And I wish I would have done it sooner. Something else I want to mention, we're heading into 2026. I do a group coaching program twice a month. It's super affordable. People have had amazing results. So if you're listening to this and you're interested in 2026 being your bitch, 2026, you owning it, no matter what's going on politically or economically or socially in the world, you fly your own flag. I say fly your own freak flag. Like, be exactly who you are. Be unapologetically who you are. And we're going to talk about that tonight. So let's get right into it. So I make sure I don't waste any time. Thank you guys again for joining in. Please share this out as you're listening to it, watching it. Tag a friend, send it to a friend. Tell them, hey, man, you got to listen to this dude. This guy is real stuff. And then don't just take this episode. Go back and listen to a couple of them. Go back and listen to over the last 6 years. Pick a couple out each year. I used to do a lot of guests. We've had some amazing guests on here talking about their journey and how they've shifted their beliefs and their perspectives and what use. I can tell you, without a doubt, everything you need, and if you did, is in this podcast. There you go. There's your value. Thank you for paying. Oh, that's right. Nobody pays me for this. I do it out of the honesty and the goodness of my heart and make a difference and to fulfill my legacy, which we're going to talk about. So let's get into the first question tonight. Why do I keep procrastinating even when I know what to do? I can't tell you how many people ask me that. Chris, I know what to do. I know where to get the answers, but I still don't do it. And I will tell you this honestly, like I just talked about my group coaching program. Here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. If you're out of shape and you pay for a trainer, are you going to go to the trainer or are you going to be lazy? Now you might buy a gym membership and say, oh, I'm going to go. I'm going to try to go. But when you pay money for a trainer who's sitting there going, hey, where's Stacy? Where's Julie? Where's Chris? Where's Dan? When you pay money, you pay attention. And oftentimes we're going, I'm going to do that. And the information's there and the YouTube videos there and chat. Everything is there for you guys. It's literally right on your phone. It's right on your phone. So again, the question, why do I keep procrastinating even when I know what to do? It's because you don't have people in your life that are saying, hey, you said you were going to do this. Why aren't you? It's called accountability. When you have accountability in your life and you answer to somebody, and what I teach you to do is answer to yourself. But when you have an accountability partner in your life, you have a coach in your life that you're paying for, you're investing in, not paying for, you're investing in your future. Like you could do it and it may take you 10 years to do it on your own. But what if you did it in a year? What if you did it in 6 months? What if in 6 months you changed your perspective and your beliefs and your confidence so much that you are able to tackle shit you have thought only dreamed of doing? But when you have people in your life and you're able to bounce ideas off of and you're like, hey, you know what? I didn't do what I said I was going to do last week. Okay, why? What do you need to do differently this week? But there's another aspect of this. Like, I don't know what to do. A lot of people just don't know where to start. Chris, I don't know where to start. To which I reply all the time, just start somewhere. Just start with something. Chris, just write one word down. Just write down the fact that you don't want to write what you can't write down and go from it there. And then ask your question, why? And then just explore it and be creative and flow. Get into the flow state. But, as far as not knowing what to do, you know what to do. It's that accountability. It's like, when you think about it, how bad do I want it? And it may be something that you think you should do, or somebody else has been telling you to do, or society tells you to do, or whatever it is. If it's not here, if it's not a passion, if it's not a vision in your brain that says, I absolutely have to do this, then pick something else. Pick something else. But I will tell you this in all honesty. Many of you out there are struggling and you're fighting and you're trying and you're wondering and you're hoping and you're wishing and you're praying. I can tell you this. You could show up to this. It just might not be your time yet. And I've talked to a lot of people in this world. Oh, Chris, yeah, I'm going to coach you. I'm going to do that. And it's usually not until something breaks, a relationship, a job, a career, a business, whatever, a health, getting older. It's all these things that start to happen. And Chris, oh my God. And there's enough leverage in your life to where you will make that investment to work with me. You will make that trip to the psychiatrist. You'll end that relationship. You'll do what you've known to do, but you've been scared to because you're not sure of the outcome and you want certainty. We all want certainty. Why? Because it's comfortable, right? Oh, when things are safe and it's safe and comfortable. If I just do these things, I know what the outcomes are. And so when you think about self-sabotage, going back to that question, right? It's that matter of like, okay, I'm going to give myself all these excuses and not do it. But just get started somewhere. If you're going to take care of your health, what's the first thing you can do? I could start drinking more water. Your body is like 80% water. If you're not drinking water every day, guess what? You're dehydrated. And when you're dehydrated, you feel like shit. When you feel like shit, you go to your short-term gratifications to escape feeling like shit. And you just try to get by. And then you wait for the weekend when you don't have to work and everything's good. And you basically use 2 days to escape from 5 days of your life every single week. And then you take a week vacation or 2 weeks vacation to escape from that. And then you keep doing the same shit over and over again because you don't have the leverage. So if you keep procrastinating, perhaps you haven't met your breaking point yet. So, yeah, well, Chris, what do I do? I don't want to reach my breaking point. I know I'm doing this. What do I do? Visualize in your mind. And let me ask you this question. When will you have had enough? When will you have had enough? When will you have had enough of your husband complaining and not treating you right? When will you have had enough of your boss talking to you that way? When will you have had enough of your coworker? When will you have had enough of the whatever it is? There's going to come a point where you're going to have enough. You're going to have had enough with your weight or your health. Man, I'm tired of fucking taking 20 medications. Man, I'm tired of going to the doctor all the time. Man, I'm tired of feeling like shit. Man, I'm tired of being an embarrassment for my grandkids. Whatever it might be, there's going to become a leverage point. So put that in your noggin and sit there and visualize it happening. Visualize yourself being in such shitty shape that you break a chair and fuck in front of everybody. Visualize getting on a plane and can't fit in the seat. Visualize yourself going to the doctor and they said, hey, by the way, you haven't been taking care of yourself. Now you have type 1 diabetes. Imagine yourself having type 1 diabetes. If you have it, and if you don't take care of it, that you have a leg amputation, a foot amputation, a toe amputation, because that's reality. If you're a diabetic, retinosa pigmentosa, some eye disease that happens with diabetics is also. And guess what? I can tell you this, as you're visualizing it, visualize yourself saying, I wish I'd have done it sooner. Because I'll tell you this, and please listen deeply to this. Regrets suck. Regrets are more painful than the work that it takes to do the thing that you don't want to regret. The pain of regret. Can you imagine the last 10 years of your life? And this is something I've been thinking long and hard about. The last 10 years of my life, how do I want to spend it? If I live to be 90, the last 10 years of my life are going to be 80 from 90. That's going to be a fucking tough decade. I'm just being honest. Irregardless of my health and everything else, I see 80-year-olds and they're in a lot of pain and they don't sleep and they this and that and da-da-da-da. But the thing that got rattling around their brain is all the shit that they didn't do. And now they do not have the physical capability or the mental capability to do it. So now they have nothing but time to sit there and think. I didn't take those chances because I was afraid of what my mom was going to say. I didn't take those risks because my friends told me or my religion told me or society. I have lived with this secret my entire life. And I've been so afraid of saying it. And now I'm going to die. And who really fucking cares? That's painful. That's pain. The pain of regrets, right? Think about this book, The 5 Regrets of the Dying. Well, that's right. I have to follow up on Nellie. Nellie, you've been reading that book. Tell me how it is. I know Nellie watches the show. I know she doesn't sometimes get a chance to watch it every single week when we're live. But Nellie, tell me how you thought of that book. Nellie is one of the few people that sat there and came back to me on a podcast. And I said, I dare you guys to buy The 5 Regrets of the Dying. Go rent it. Go do whatever you need to do. 5 Regrets of the Dying. It's written by a hospice nurse. Go read that and then come back and tell me if your perspective and your beliefs aren't shifted. It is a painful fucking book. It is painful because a hospice nurse is sitting with people who are dying and listening to all the what ifs and shoulda, coulda, wouldas. And that's not a way to want to live. That's not a way to live. So if you don't even know what to do or how to start, or just ask yourself, what do I do? What do I not want? I do not want regrets in my life. I do not want to die a sick person. I don't want to die with my music still in me. Whatever it might be, what do you not want? And then, okay, what is the first thing I can do about it? Like I said before, I can drink water. I can start Googling things. There's so much stuff you could do that's free. But most importantly, you can get around people who are doing what you want to do. I can't tell you how many times, because I invested in myself when I couldn't afford it, around masterminds and coaching and all this different stuff, how amazing it turned out to be. And if you can't make back the investment you make with the person that you're working with, whether in your own sense of confidence or accomplishments, then you need to talk to me. You need to talk to me because the answers are there. So get skin in the game and get busy, because you got to start somewhere. Take that action. Write out your eulogy. Have a vision for where your life is going. And think about this. Like, if you died in 2 weeks, what are you going to do in these next 2 weeks that when you die, that you're remembered not for being somebody who was complacent and lazy and complaining and whatever it might be? What are you doing? Like Jacqueline watching the show right now. Jacqueline might have oral squamous cell carcinoma. I'm like telling her, go fuck into the emergency room. And she's being like, hey, I got an appointment December 1st. And if I got it, I'm going to do it. Just have that attitude, like you're going to accomplish it, but go out there and be belligerent. I personally, Jacqueline, I would be going to the emergency room saying, what is this? I need some help. Let's go. I got pain, I got whatever, I would be fighting for that. But that's your life. That's your life. Don't procrastinate on the important things, because cancer and diabetes and all these different things, God, people are getting them young. Colon cancer at 29. Come on, eat healthy. Make sure you're having good bowel movements. Make sure you're just doing stuff and living life. I hate to see people not living life. No. All right. So let's get into question number 2, because I could just do a whole show on that. And I have probably done those shows on that. Number 2, how do I know when it's time to walk away from a relationship? Yeah, I've done a few shows on relationships, business relationships, personal relationships, intimate relationships, things of that nature. I've had relationship experts on the show many, many times. So go back and look for those titles, either on YouTube or on podcast, wherever you get podcasts. But how do I know when to walk away from a relationship? I'll say this, and this is probably one of the most impactful and shortest things that I say on this topic, but here it is. People come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. A reason, a season, or a lifetime. So sometimes you think people are going to come into your world for a lifetime. Oh, they're going to be my best friend. They're my girlfriend. They're my wife. They're my husband. They're my brother. Hey, even family members may not be in your life for a lifetime. I unfortunately had to wish my sister well after reconnecting with her back in 2005. It's a long story. I've shared it so many times on here before, but it was for a reason, I think. It was for a reason and a season, a very small season. Like the amount of time I spent with my sister, who was same mom, different dad, extraordinarily short. And you have to earn your right to be called a sister or a brother, a father, an uncle, right? I have uncles in this world, and I have brothers and sisters in this world who don't share blood, who don't share a house or anything, but man, we share ethics, we share values, we share passion, we share enjoyment, we share vulnerable times, we share the tough shit, we go through tough shit together. So if there's people in your life, even if they're blood, and they're not there to support you and love you and be contrarian to you, right? That accountability partner. Hey, how am I doing? How am I looking? Oh, you look great. You know what? You look really great for where you're at. But if you're open to it, I'd love to make a couple of suggestions that might make you look better and be happier. Are you open to that? Well, no. All right. Thank you. Okay. You know where that person's at. Like when people ask me a question, I'll sit there and I'll ask you, how much do you want the truth? On a scale of 1 to 10, you're asking me a question. 10, you want the fucking truth, or 5, you want me to kind of give you the truth. What do you think? Right? So if there are people in your life, are they telling you the truth? Is your best friend telling you the truth? Do you and your best friend have deep conversations like I do with Jock and Walt and Chris or Scott? And actually, I'm supposed to be calling Lee. Hi, Lee, if you're watching. Sorry about that, buddy. Things get away from me. So when you think that, the values, right? The thing you got to think about is, what are your values? What are your values? I did a great podcast on this where we talked about values. Actually, you know what I'll do? I can't do it right now, but it's on my YouTube. It's values. If you guys want to know that specific episode, send me a message on social media or email info@noexcusescoach.com. Send me an email or send me a message, however you want to do it. I'll send you the link. But that one was pretty incredible, because when you think about your values, and I give my coaching clients this, and we actually did it in the group coaching program. I give them a list of 50 values, and I tell them to pick 5. I'm like, 5? And I'm like, yeah. And then you pick your top 3. So when you have your top 3 values, for those of you guys listening and watching, I just pulled a sticky note off of my computer monitor. Values: love, self, others, peace. Let's see, my second value, being in service. Third value, freedom. Fourth, service, integrity, and values. Fifth value, gratitude. And the reason why I keep that on my monitor is I'm fucking making a decision about whether to work with a client. I'm having a moment, and I'm just in there going, does this align with my top 5 values? Yes or no? And it's not maybe, sort of. You just sit there and say, is this person in my life, do they align with my values and my integrity? Okay. And they might be a coworker. That's kind of an off question. Okay. If there is somebody in your life that you're having a challenge with and you don't know whether to keep them in your life, first and foremost, and this is surprising to a lot of people, have a conversation with them. Like, have a deep conversation with them, a meaningful conversation where you listen first. It's the key. Seek first to understand, then to be understood. And then listen. And you know what? Very often when you go to somebody, if you're in a relationship challenge and you have a problem with them, oftentimes they have a problem with you too. And then you have to think, is the chicken or the egg, the horse versus the cart? Like, what came first? And very often when I've gone to somebody and I'm like, hey, we have a challenging relationship right now, and I don't like it. I don't like the fact that, you come into my, I want to understand what the challenge is. And very often when I sat there and shut up, because I have 2 ears and 1 mouth, and I shut up and I listen, oftentimes in that exchange, somebody will tell me something that I was not aware of or I did not take seriously. And then I can sit there and go, oh, that's why they're being a dick. Because they misinterpreted, they misunderstood, and didn't clarify my intention. And they made an assumption about me. And now they've been being a dick because of that. Where maybe I didn't choose my words carefully, or that person was having a bad day. But you need to have the conversation. Oh, I texted him. Fuck you. Don't text. Call up the phone. Call the phone. Go see him. Get on a Zoom call. Body language, man. Communication is 85% body language, vocal tonality. So I sent a text. I've seen people having these text message fucking arguments. And I'm like, do you realize that 85% of your communication isn't even there? That they're just reading the words, and based on where they're at and how you're wording them. And if you're not even saying it out loud or asking somebody else before you send it, what's their interpretation? What's their interpretation? So oftentimes we want to get shit off our chest and we want to blast the other person and make them feel bad. And what do? They get defensive and they make you feel bad. So when you just shut up and listen, you go, oh, you know what? I didn't know. And then when the person stops talking, you do not interrupt them. When the person stops talking, you go, you know what, Frank? Oh my God, I did not know that. I didn't know that. I'm so grateful you told me this, because had I known, I could have clarified that for you. I wish you would have asked me in that moment for clarification, because that was not my intention. Are you interested in hearing where I was really coming from? Yeah, or no, it doesn't matter anymore. Okay, then you kind of know. But if that person goes, oh man, I'm sorry. Yeah, you know what? I should have. And then you see that collaboration, you see that intention, you see that harmony. And then you're like, oh, this person isn't an asshole. And you were going to come unglued on this person. But now you can sit there and say, okay, so what can we do to make it right moving forward? Because so oftentimes we'll sit there and bitch about the past and we'll hone on it. And, oh, well, then you did this and then I did this and da-da-da-da-da-da. Who cares? It's all just electrical energy in our brain, and your truth and my truth and the real truth, they're all fucking different. So how about we do this? How about we just express lane the shit out of it? And we say, you know what, moving forward, let's do this. And then you agree to it, and then you do it. And then you start doing it and you're like, oh man. And I can tell you this honest truth, in my corporate life, in my personal life, I have done this. And trust me, when you do it, the ability for that relationship to heal, and not only heal, but become stronger because of that respect, because of that display of value that you showed to that person, caring about them, that relationship becomes stronger. And I'll tell you this quick story. There was a guy that I used to work with in sales. I was in operations, which traditionally have an adversarial friction relationship. And there was one sales rep out of about 9 who I could not stand. I would see him, his caller ID, and I'd, fucking A, Mark. I pick up the phone. Thank you for calling sales. This is Mark. And I would do an impression of him, and he'd be like, Mark, Christopher, that's not very funny. And then he would call, and then he would sit there and, oh, your people did this and blah, blah, blah. My customer's pissed and you guys suck. And what are you going to do to make it better? Fuck you, Mark. Fuck you, Mark. I'm going to bitch slap you in the next fucking week. And it was more joking, but I was just like, Jesus Christ, this dude has no personality. He has no appreciation for the shit that we get right 99% of the time. It's only when we fuck stuff up. Never says anything positive. Doesn't come down and celebrate when the rest of the time. All these things. But then I went to a sales and operations dinner with everybody, and I got to the restaurant last. And guess who I got to sit next to? I walked in the restaurant. I'm like, you fucking kidding me? I got to sit next to this guy that teaches me, and all this stuff went through my brain. And 2 hours later, I walked out of that restaurant with a new friend. And I told Mark later, I said, you know what, Mark, I like this version of you. You're not this personal at work. You're not this. You're funny, dude. I didn't realize how fucking sarcastic you are and witty and just a chill dude. He's all, Christopher, I can't be that way at work. I have to be professional. I'm like, Mark, please, for the love of God, you will get so much more done just being like this. And I'll tell you the honest truth. His and I relationship for the next, I don't know how many years it was, strengthened so much so that when he was let go of the company, I went to his going away party, which unfortunately wasn't a lot of people there. And he later told me over text messages or something like that, he's like, Christopher, and I was still at the company. He said, if I was ever to come back to Patty, you're the only person I'd want to work for. Because I was a director at the time. Is that not a compliment? Like, for people thinking of me like this and all of a sudden saying, I respect you so much that you're the only person I'd want to report to. And I'm in operations. Like, he wanted me to hire him in the warehouse. Just from me going to him saying, Mark, come on. And then opening myself up when we were at dinner and telling him, and like, I could have just been an asshole and go, and he's like, I can't be that. He was, and he got to, we still talk every once in a while. And I've been gone for, holy shit, on the 7th of this month, it'll be 6 years. Yeah. It's crazy. It's crazy. So how do I know when to walk away from a relationship? When you're not happy, right? When you think about it, here's another question to ask yourself. Does this person make me feel better or worse for being around them? And it's, again, not a maybe. Yes. No, they make me feel bad. I know they don't mean to do it, but they do it. And how long you been putting up with this? 14 years, 20 years, 30 years, 5 years. I'm like, what would it be like if you didn't put up with it? Great. Okay. What do you think you should do first? I don't know. How about talk to them? Okay. They talk. I push them, give them some ideas. They talk. And guess what? Usually every fucking time. It goes well. And guess what? If it doesn't go well, then that's not the person for you. And they tell you right then, if they're being an asshole about you trying to repair the relationship, then you can say goodbye. I wish you all the best. Good luck. And I'm here to tell you, I've had to do that. I obviously did it with my sister. I've done it with best friends. I've done it with all sorts of people. And when I say this, I want to clarify this. Anybody who's watching, Danny, Robert, or anybody in my life who's been in my life, and if you just happen to tune in right now, if you've been in my life, and as long as you haven't fucked me over, and I'm actually friends with my old best friend, somewhat, I guess, weird, who is now dating my ex-wife, it's good. It's good. But anybody watching, I don't have any malice towards them. Even if my sister called me and said, oh my God, my house is burning, whatever, I would still help her. And it's not that I would want to rekindle that relationship, but I have value in those experiences. Like, I appreciate the people that have backstabbed me and double crossed me and cheated on me and lied to me and all that stuff, because it allowed me to see who they were. And it allowed me not to get cynical. And this is so important about people, because we often throw the baby out with the bathwater and say, oh, I'm just not going to love anymore. I get hurt all the time. Everybody betrays me. I'm just going to be a bitch. I'm just going to be a dick, and nobody's going to see the real me, and I'm not going to get taken advantage of. And then guess what? Do you see what I just did? I just closed myself off. You want to be my friend? You want to date me? You're going to have to prove it to me. And trust me, I know a lot of women. Mostly women are my coaching clients. And they're telling me, I want to find a man. I want to be in love. I'm like, okay, so explain to me your last 3 dates, or explain to me what your position is on Strange. They have to prove to me. And I'm like, I have to prove shit to you. Maybe you got to prove something to them, that maybe you're not a closed off bitch, right? Because you sit there and do this, and then you're like, I don't understand why nobody wants to ask me out. I don't understand why I have any friends. It's because you're doing this, because you're trying to protect yourself. And trust me, I could have easily done that. I was fucked over by everybody. But I decided, when I started looking at successful people and happy people, I'm like, forgiveness, empathy, compassion, understanding. Oh, let me see what is going on from your side of things. Right? So when you think about this, if you're not happy, be honest with yourself, because I can guarantee you, when is the time to walk away from it? Yeah. And I've given this advice before, and I've actually looked at it for myself. I'm like, if you're dating somebody and you're like, you know what, if they were kissing somebody else, would I be really mad? No. Well, that's kind of a sign. But if I sat there and pictured my wife kissing somebody else, I get mad and jealous, then there's something to work on there. But if you're sitting there going, you know what? Right? So how do I know when it's time to walk a relationship? Jeez. Communicate, be vulnerable, talk to experts, like go and do your research, like how to have a tough conversation, go out there and do the Googles and YouTubes and spend a week and think about it and maybe formulate a letter and think about that. And if you're terrible at talking, I've had people do this and I don't like it as much. And I've done this. Sometimes you just need to formulate all your thoughts and put it down. Like if I had to send this person a letter, a concise letter of the 3 or 4 things, not 17, the 3 or 4 things that perhaps maybe are bugging me, or the one most important thing. Like what if the one most important thing got addressed, would I be able to understand and accept this person? Would I feel better about this? Right. But so many people are living in quiet misery. Well, they should know. They don't fucking know. Or they know and they don't care because you're not saying anything and they're getting away with it. And maybe they don't realize they're getting away with it. Sometimes we take things for granted. We take people for granted and we don't know it until they're gone or until they're sick. Right. And that's a sad part. So the people in your life, don't take it for granted. And I know sometimes we can get comfortable and, oh yeah, that's what stage we're in. And I do that with my wife. We've been together for 23 years. We've been married for 18. Sometimes I'm like, oh yeah, it's been 18 years or whatever, but maybe her perspective is, oh, it's been 18 years. We should do something a little bit extra. We should do something like have those communications, have those expectation conversations. Like, what do you expect? Like there was this one time, swear to God, Valentine's Day, here's a funny relationship story. Valentine's Day, she and I were broke. But I had a gift card. I'd won money to a restaurant and I said, okay. And it was after work. So I said, meet me here. We'll go to this nice restaurant and have a nice dinner. I said, but we're not doing anything, right? We're not doing any exchanges, no flowers, no exchanges. And I said, okay. And she met me there in the parking lot and she had a card for me. And we go to sit down and I'm like, you got a card for me? She goes, of course we're going to get cards. The conversation ensued in my mind. What the fuck? You just said nothing. Like I take that literal. You said nothing and now you have this card and you didn't give me a card. Oh my God. And that was before dinner was even served. That was before we even got a table. But her expectation was at least you get a card. So the next time, guess what? I said, hey, what are we doing? And what's the dollar limit? And what's the expectation? She goes, well, make it a surprise. Okay. I just want to make sure I understand. Last year we had a miscommunication. We had a misunderstanding. And I don't want that to happen again because I don't want you to not feel special. To me, it's a $7. Now they're like $8. Like for a Hallmark card, somebody make a card for good's sakes, fucking get on your computer and put some pictures together and write something really cool in there. And maybe that person will display the card, right? I need to do more of that. I bought 3 cards and it was like $25. I'm like, what? It's crazy. All right. Another suggestion for personal relationships. And I just had to quote this, read the book, The 5 Love Languages. The 5 love languages. We all have a predominant love language. Buy that book for your spouse, your partner, whatever it might be. Buy the book for them and say, hey, here, I've got an idea. Let's both read this book. And then we'll have a conversation each week about what it is that we've read. And then towards the end, we'll figure out, okay, your love language is words of affection and my love language is touch. So that when we know that, okay, if my wife's personal number 1 love language is touch and I'm not touching her, then I'm not feeding into that. So I have to give massages and sometimes she'll ask me, hey, can you rub my back? And I'm like, oh shit, I haven't, and I give her hugs and kisses and stuff like that. But maybe to her, she just needs a little bit more. So when you think about that, ask what your partner wants, or in some situations, cut it off and move on, right? Whether you're friends, we've been friends forever. So what? So what? Ask yourself the question, am I being loved or am I just being needed? And again, here's another question. Do I feel more alive or more drained after time together? That's a huge one. Here's another question. What am I afraid will happen if I leave? And is that already happening by staying? So these are questions, very serious questions that you need to answer. Am I being loved or just being needed? Do I feel more alive or drained after our time together? What am I afraid will happen after I leave? And is it already happening by staying? I just help somebody realize that they're like, oh my God, this person's draining me. They're draining me. And I said, what would it be like if you didn't talk to them anymore? Really good. But I'm their only friend. So maybe you're their only friend because of what they're doing. And maybe you need to fucking talk to them and say, hey, listen, people don't want to hear an hour and a half of how terrible your life is every time they talk to you. Jesus Christ, you sound fucking miserable. I tell people that. Like I get on the phone and go, hey, what are you grateful for? Let's make this conversation nothing but what we're grateful for. And if that person's still complaining, I'm grateful for that I have money to go to my doctor's appointments because I'm sick all the time and I'm miserable, whatever it might be. I know people like Jacqueline watching, like she's in pain and we're all in pain and doing stuff, but we're still enjoying life and we're still being grateful for the fact that the challenges that we have are there to make us stronger. In case you're new to the show, I have 2 tattoos on my arms. One of them says, what doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. Again, what doesn't kill me only makes me stronger. And this one says, you're only limited by the parameters of your own mind. Boom. I can look down and be reminded that I'm fucking an unstoppable warrior. There you go. Next question. How do I set healthy boundaries without feeling selfish? How do I set boundaries without feeling selfish? Number 1, it's self-love. Self-love, right? When I ask you, who do you love most in the world? You're able to tell me right away, right? I love my son. I love my husband. I love my daughter. I love my mom. I love my whatever, my dog. All right. How much do you love that person, dog, anything? On a scale of 1 to 10, 10. Okay. You love that person a 10. You love that dog a 10. But guess what? You're in such miserable shape that you don't take the dog for a walk. You don't play with the dog. Now, does the dog want to get walked and played? Okay. So do you spend money on a dog walker? Or you just sit there and say, oh, the dog runs around. It's okay for him. Like, kind of to draw it back again. If you love that person or that object a 10, but you're at a 4, what are you giving that person? Oh, I love my kids to pieces. I love my kids so much. I would do anything for them. Would you take a bullet? Yeah, I would take a bullet. Would you go see a psychiatrist and talk about your problems and end the relationship that you've been in for fucking last 10 years? No. Why? Because I don't value myself enough. Okay. Again, I hate the airplane analogy, but who do you put the mask on first? You have to take care of yourself. So just imagine you're at a 4 giving this person all sorts of love, and you're probably giving them more love than you give to yourself because you know they deserve it and you feel that you don't. But what if you felt you deserved it? What if you started doing nice things for yourself? What if you started saying nice things about yourself? What if you started pushing yourself and having a sense of pride and a sense of accomplishment by keeping your promises to yourself? What would that feel like? What would your life be like in 6 months if you kept your promises to yourself? Oh, I'm going to try to work out. I'm going to try to eat healthier. I'm going to try to not eat sugar. Like, no, don't try. Just do it. Right? When you think about the stuff that you put in your body, and it shocks the crap out of me. My pain management doctor, who I've been seeing now for, I don't know, 12 years, 14 years, I don't know, never asked me what I put into my body. And I'm like, why don't you ever ask me what I eat? And he goes, that's not my concern. I'm not a dietitian. I'm like, yeah, but if I put sugar and wheat and gluten and all this inflammatory shit into my body, guess what? I get inflamed. You've never had me go get, what's the test? If you're allergic to gluten intolerance or whatever it is, you never had me do that. But yet when I stopped eating sugar and gluten, especially when I've done 75 hard, guess what? My inflammation goes down. My pain goes down. And guess what? When that goes down, I feel better. And guess what? When I do better, I'm happier and I'm more joyful and I'm not as bitchy and I'm not as frustrated and I'm not as short and I don't want things to be over so I can go sit down or lay down. So when you start taking care of yourself, you start doing the 5: hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and vitamin D. You just start doing those things, like getting better sleep. Oh man, I'm a terrible sleeper. I guess. What are you doing? Oh, I tried melatonin gummies once. All right. Well, I will tell you this. My sleeping sucks. I am on Ambien. I'm not proud to say that, but I finally found something where I can fucking sleep more than 4 hours. And I did my research on it, and there's a part of me that regrets taking it. But at the same time, I take Ambien, I take a muscle relaxer, I have taken magnesium. I have tried I wear an Oura ring that actually tracks my sleep. So that I was just telling my wife this morning, I'm like, man, I got to stop eating sugar after 7 o'clock. If I have a little snack or whatever it might be, or if I eat, guess what? Your digestive system is working and you can't sleep that well because your pulse rate is higher and you don't get into deep sleep. That's just a nutshell. But because I was so burned out and worn out and I didn't want to fuck up my relationships and everything else, I had to start taking care of myself. And I started having to draw boundaries in the sand. So one of the things you can do is, how do I set boundaries? Learn to say no. No is a complete sentence. No. Right? Oh yeah, I'll do it. I talk to people all the time who come to me like, yeah, I can't say no. I'm like, yeah, you can fucking say no. Trust me. Trust me, before the 6 months are up of you working with me, guess what? You're going to say no really well. And guess what? Everybody comes back to me, and guess what? Fucking text messages. They didn't wait for my next session. Like, Chris, I just told somebody no. I just told my boss no. I just told my coworker no. I just told my husband no. I just told my kid no. I just told my best friend no. They're so happy from 2 letters because we don't know how to say no. We don't want to disappoint people. We want everybody to like us and love us and appreciate us and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. But again, it's self-love. Because when you feel better and you do better and you eliminate the tolerations in your life and the toxicity in your life and you dedicate yourself to listening to this podcast and joining my group coaching program and investing in yourself, whether it's me or somebody else, guess what? You start to elevate. You start to elevate and you establish what you're no longer going to accept in your life. No, I had a mom told me, oh, if I had more time, I would do this and I would do this and I would do this. And I'm like, where do you spend all your time? And I said, be detailed from the time you get up till the time you go to sleep. Immediately, I found 2 hours. And I said, if you had 2 hours more a day, I didn't say anything. So if you had 2 hours more a day, would you still have the excuse you don't have time? She's like, no, oh my God, 2 hours a day. Are you fucking kidding, Chris? I don't have 2 hours a day. I'm like, yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. How old are your kids again? Oh, 9 and 16. I'm like, yeah. How much time do you spend on laundry for everybody in the house? Oh, 3 or 4 hours a week. Okay. So I'm going to find you at least 2 hours, right? Maybe I'm going to find you more. Plus, I'm going to find you some self-respect. Because guess what? If you got cancer tomorrow, if you got a leg amputation, if you got hit by a bus, would your husband and your kids not somehow get clean clothes? Well, they would. Okay. They'd have to figure it out. I'm like, well, how about just teaching them? How about having a conversation with them saying, hey, you know what? You're 16 and you're 9 and you're 42, whatever the husband is or whatever, the mom or whatever it is. And ask for help. Say, hey guys, I tell you what, normally I do everything, but here's the, I do this with my 8-year-old son. I have him put all his dirty clothes in his hamper. And then I have him drag his hamper out to the landing. And then we put his clothes back in there and he has to put his clothes away. And we used to fold. I mean, sometimes I fold them. But that responsibility. So we're still kind of doing it, but we're not doing all of it. And we're establishing leadership. We're establishing accountability. We're establishing responsibility with those people in our life so that they don't fully depend on us. So if we do get hit by a bus, that we know our family's going to be able to make dinner at night. They're going to be able to do their laundry. They're going to be able to get to school. They're going to be able to find whatever it is. Empower the people in your life. Ask for help. And if you don't have people in your life that are going to give you help, go out there and meet new people. All right. Let's keep going. Oh, here's some questions. I forgot I made these study questions for you. So like I said before, here's some questions to ask in your life. Where in my life do I consistently feel resentful? There's a question for you. Where in my life do I consistently feel resentful? Here's the next question. Who benefits when I have no boundaries and who gets hurt? Who benefits when I have no boundaries and who gets hurt? And here's the last question I want to instill upon you to think about and answer with this particular topic. What's one small no I've been afraid to say? So where can you say no? My challenge to you in the next 7 days is to find something to say no to. Right? And if you're really good at saying no and you never say yes to anything, then maybe that's something you need to look at. Here's the next question. Got all sorts of variations of this. Should I quit my job to follow my passion? Yes and no. Here's what I did. And I probably did it for too long, but then God, source, universe pushed me off the ledge and made me jump. That's another analogy, but yeah, no, if you have a job, I would sit there and say, no, do a side hustle. And everybody listening to me right now, everybody, I'm going to get my kid to start having a side hustle here pretty soon at 8 years old, 9 years old. You should have a side hustle. What is your natural talent? Like my natural talent is coaching and speaking and podcasting and things like that. So I've been doing this now since 2013, at least. I've been coaching since at least the late 90s in a formal or an informal capacity. So that's what I started doing as my side hustle. I started doing professional speaking gigs. I would take a week vacation from work and I would go fly out and I would do these events. I would go to masterminds and I would do all this stuff. And I had the side hustle. It wasn't until November 7th of 2019 that my side hustle became my main hustle out of leverage. I didn't know it was going to happen. And it was one of the hardest things that I experienced, but one of the greatest. So sometimes when tough things are happening, the clouds lift and you will look back and go, hey, that was probably one of the best things that ever happened to me. And it may not, it may suck, but what do you learn from it? What do you gain from it? So should I quit my job and follow my passion? I said, no. But if you're running out of time, or if you're older, and especially, I just did a couple of shows on this, on AI and the reality and like the time to wake up. If your job can be done by a computer, and I'm learning if you're a lawyer, all that stuff. I saw AI, 2 people agreed to AI arbitration and they put the shit into AI and it blah, 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 and it spit it out and people agreed to it. They had no attorneys that right? I can see court. I can see all sorts of stuff just being artificial intelligence, not needing court reporters anymore, not needing. If I was still in the workforce and I was doing what I did, I would definitely be looking at different things. Definitely. That's the reality. I'm telling you this. If you're within the sound of my voice, anywhere on the spinning blue marble in space, AI is coming, and it's coming fast. If you haven't done any research on it, and it's not scary. I mean, you got to use it. You got to use it and harness it. Like, how can you utilize it and simplify it in your job, especially in your personal life? Like, now you can have apps made that are super cheap. You can have a redundant app. I can make a coaching app if I wanted to, if I put enough feedback in there. If I just went back through and all my coaching and probably spent a little bit of time and used ChatGPT, I could probably create a coaching program on an app and upload it and pay for it and put apps on your phone and go through the app store and all that other stuff. The moment to act is right now. The technology and the playing field to get on YouTube and to get on these places and establish this opportunity is massive, because everybody's coming. So I'm going to tell you this: passion can't pay the bills if it's not structured. So you got to go out there and test your dream and go out there and do a bunch of stuff, especially if you're younger. Go out there and experiment with different things, man. I was a painter. I was a data entry. I was also in construction, all sorts of different things. Fucking even became a school bus driver for a minute. And I haven't even told anybody that story. I mean, a few people know it. So what questions can you ask yourself? What's the real reason I want to leave or escape? What's my escape or purpose? Right? Again, we're talking about, should I quit my job to follow my passion? Can I build my passion in parallel for 6 to 12 months? That's another question. Or here's another question for you. What's my definition of enough financially, emotionally, and spiritually? And again, that goes back to, what's your breaking point? Chris, I've been in my job for 26 years. I'm 50 years old. Trust me, that is fucking scary. When I left my career position, I admittedly thought, okay, I've been a director for a long time. I could probably go be chief operating officer, vice president, at the very least another director. Wasn't in the cards. No matter my experience, my tenure, my master's degree, my motivationals, everything, my leadership, everything, it was not in the cards. You gotta look at the reality of situations, right? So what else can you do? What are you willing to do? What are you willing to sacrifice? Oh, Chris, I've worked so hard. And I'm like, yeah, you may have to start over, and it may really suck, but it's going to suck worse if you don't. And it's going to suck worse in terms of regrets, like I was saying before, if you don't. You have to take this action. Like, if your kids and people are watching, even if your kids are in their 20s, people are watching you, be that inspiration. You don't know who you're inspiring, even if you live by yourself. Your neighbor, man, he gets up every day and goes to the fucking gym. I want to be like Todd. Todd's got a bicycle. He goes out and rides his bike every day. He walks to the grocery store, whatever it is. Like, you never know who you are inspiring with your social media post and just with your general attitude. I didn't realize how many people I was inspiring just by telling people I used to be a homeless dude that was in the seventh grade and went on like, how are you here today? I mean, this is a long, long time ago. And I never told people that I was homeless. I made up a whole story about my life because I was going to tell people I dug through trash cans to survive. I'm going to tell people that, I lived in motels where there was drug addicts and prostitution and murders and all that shit. Never said that. But when I started saying it, people were like, oh my God. So you don't know. Here's another question, because I'm trying to get to these in our allotted time here. Oh my God. This question right here. I didn't save it for last, but how do I deal with burnout? And I went back and I looked at this. There are several episodes where I specifically title with burnout. or with exhaustion and stuff like that. So I encourage you to go back to listen to those deep dives. But how do I deal with burnout? I said this before, you got to take care of yourself. Chances are you're burned out because you're worried about what everybody else thinks. Oh, I have to impress my boss, impress my coworkers, be the first one there and the last one to leave and all that other stuff. And I was that person. It was a badge of honor. Let me show how fucking unstoppable I am. Let me show that I don't have any excuses. Let me just show how bad I want it. And I did. Respect. Oh my God, Chris, you're fucking amazing. Yeah. Until I wasn't. Two parts to that. Guess what? When you're amazing and you fucking take a break, people expect you to be amazing all the time. And when you tell them you're human, they're like, no, you've been setting that example. You can do it. Keep doing it. Do more. That was at my job. And that was at other things too. People had this expectation. Well, you make it look so easy. I'm like, it's not easy. I'm killing myself. I'm just not telling you that I'm killing myself because I'm like, look how good I am. And then one day I woke up and I literally felt like I was pushed off the Empire State Building. That's in New York. It's a tall building. I felt like I was pushed off the building and landed on the fucking ground, but didn't die. That was my analogy back in 2007. I don't even know. 2010. I don't know. I don't know. The years are blurry. But I woke up and I felt like absolute shit. And I felt like absolute shit for weeks and months. And then I went to the doctor and I'm like, man, I am so tired. I can't pay attention. I'm not, my workouts, everything sucks. And they went and tested some things and they came back and they're like, your adrenals are crashed and you need your adrenals for all sorts of stuff. They tested my cortisol, which is your stress hormone. It was off the charts. And so of course I said in the fix it fashion that I am, I'm like, okay, what do I do? What pills do I take? Can you hook me up to an IV? And they said, Chris, you need to rest. That's what they said. They said, you need to rest. And I started laughing. I'm like, fuck, dude, I don't rest. I saw the same doctor. I met him for almost 30 years. And I said, I don't rest. He goes, you need to rest. You need to take it easy. And that was a big thing for me because I was identified by what I did and who I was. And so now I had to start saying no. And be, oh, why are you saying no? In some relationships, some expectations, it soured. Chris isn't being a team player and all this other. Like Chris has to take care of himself. So how do you deal with burnout? Like I said before, the 5: hydration, nutrition, sleep, exercise, and vitamin D. Like get a vitamin deficiency test for God's sakes. Get a nutrient deficiency test. Like find out where you're deficient. I found out I was deficient in vitamin D. Even though I get plenty of sunshine, I started taking a vitamin D supplement. Guess what? That kind of went away. I say kind of went away, but yeah, I mean, my vitamin D was just tested recently. It was right in the middle because I take that supplement. Hydration, nutrition, sleep, like just taking it easy. I take it easy now more than I ever have. And sometimes I feel guilty for that, but I am enjoying my life. I'm enjoying the fruits of my labor in my life. So when you think out, yeah, like I said before, I've worked with a lot of women in my life and, taking care of everybody else. And I'm like, what would it be like if you didn't do that? Oh, you're being a bad mom or a bad wife or da-da-da-da. I'm like, yeah, you're going to take that personal or what? Well, I feel like I should take it personal. I'm like, no, you're just drawing the line. If you love your family that much and you're burned out, you're not giving them the best. So go back and tell them, hey guys, I need your help and I need your support. Tell your friends like, hey, I'm burned out. I'm fucking overwhelmed. I need your help. Can you help me look at my life and figure out where a couple of areas of my life that I could change? Outside looking in, but we're all so strong and let me be there for you. So if you're burned out, you need to look in the mirror. You need to look in the mirror and you need to ask yourself, why am I doing what it is that I'm doing? Am I happy doing it? And I know a lot of people aren't happy. I wasn't happy like burning myself out and doing these things, but I knew I had to do it to survive. But you also have to have that vision in your mind. Okay, I'm a survivor, but I'm also a thriver. And I can't continue to burn myself out and take myself for granted and cater to everybody else and say yes to everybody else if I'm not getting some in the back end, right? So when you're burned out, look at things in terms of how can I break this down into manageable chunks? Because so oftentimes I'm overwhelmed, I'm in debt, I can't pay my bills. All right, have you called your credit? What can I do? What can I do? I can make smaller payments. Can I call my creditors and say, hey, I can make smaller payments? Can I look at a debt consolidation agency? Can I ask a friend, anybody in my community that has a financial advisor that maybe I could barter with, right? I'm a personal trainer. Okay, I will come give you personal training sessions in exchange for some money management advice for maybe a couple hours. Be resourceful, fuckers. Be resourceful. The answers and the opportunities are there. The answers and opportunity. Again, I ask people all the time, tell me how many times you Googled last week your problem and how to solve it. I didn't. Why? I don't know. Yeah, because you're self-sabotaging, because you don't feel you deserve it, right? Because you're afraid of taking risks because you failed before and you made mistakes. So what? Mistakes and failures are all part of the process for us to learn and grow, because when you look back on your life, have you grown more when things have been easy and cool, or when things have been challenging? And I have to remind myself that. I think, man, I've been through more challenges than I can ever imagine. I think sometimes we think that, oh, once I retire and I get to the finish line, there's no more problems, that I've won the game of life. And that is fucking not true. When you get older, your body starts breaking down and shit starts breaking down. You start feeling bad and you can't do the things you could do before, and your mortality hits in and all sorts of other things happen. The shoulda, coulda, wouldas, right? So there's always time. There's always time to be good to yourself and to be good to others. That is super, super important. All right. Last question. We're going to get in here on time. How do I stay positive as I get older? And again, like I said before, go back and watch some of these shows. Go look for the specific titles where we've done deep dives on these conversations. Go listen to those shows too. And then write down a plan. Man, I got 7 strategies that I can apply before the end of the year, right? Right now it's November 4th, 2025. What can I get done by December 31st? I just put a challenge out to my coaching clients and my group coaching clients and my one-on-one coaching clients. And I said, what's one stretch goal and one goal out of your comfort zone? It's got to be 2. What can you do? Let's push. Most of the time, I'm at the end of the year, I've accomplished so much, I'm going to take it easy, I'm going to enjoy the holidays. But what if that weren't the case? What if you just sat there and said, man, if I'm going to fucking put the pedal to the metal? And so for me, obviously I love music. I got tattoos of music all over me. My son goes to drumming lessons every single week. I go to this place that's called Rock Stars of Tomorrow. So my wife and I, unbeknownst to each other, but kind of known to each other, we got each other each gift certificates to go to this place for ourselves. My wife's an amazing singer. I sing, I play guitar. So guess what? I haven't taken formal singing lessons since probably 2007. I think that's when I took it from a formal opera singer. But now guess what? I'm going to take singing and guitar lessons. I'm going to try to film it. I'm going to see if I can film it so you guys can see it, but completely out of my comfort zone. I mean, I love doing it, but performing in front of people, speaking and all that other stuff is one thing, but music, I honestly have never been good enough to have that faith. I mean, I go to karaoke and shit like that, but now I'm like, let's take it to the next level. Let's get some formal training. Let's start doing karaoke. Maybe we'll start writing songs, because I don't want that regret. So I'm doing that. And the other thing I'm doing is I've had literally from my wife a gift of 10 personal training sessions. She goes to a personal trainer. She got me these 10 sessions probably 2 or 3 years ago. They're sitting right on my bedside table. It's a little paper certificate. And so I just told her today, when I made this decision that I was going to make this commitment, I said, hey, can you talk to your personal trainer tonight and see if I can go there Thursday night with you and work out? And if I could just do Tuesdays and Thursdays with you, because you can't go, it's either morning or not. So yeah. So I decided, okay, what do I want to do? I mean, I already work out. So I'm like, okay, I want to go for core strength, stability, leg strength, exercises that use body resistance. So I'm going to go to him for things that I don't know how to do and make that those 10 sessions 2 times a week for 5 weeks. I'm going to make it a challenge to myself to exert that on my body during the holidays. Oh, Chris, I can't do that. I gotta eat for Thanksgiving. I put on 10 pounds. Yeah. How's that working out for you? Do you get the 10 pounds off in the first month? No, kind of carried around with myself. I know I should lose weight. Yeah, no. What if you just heard this right now and said, hey, fuck, I'm inspired. Maybe I'm going to set the example for my family. Maybe my family are people that don't take their weight seriously. And maybe if I start doing that and showing portion control and, maybe not eating 12 boats of gravy and all that other stuff, I mean, enjoy your day. I'm not saying that, but don't enjoy it for 12 days. Right. And admittedly, and the reason why I'm saying this is because my Halloween candy consumption the last 2 years has gone way up. I used to never eat candy at all. Not at all. Like a chocolate bar once or twice a year, maybe. And guess what? I think, and I've done research on this. When your hormones change, like when my testosterone goes down as you get older, your testosterone goes down, your estrogen goes up. When your hormones start to change, you start to crave different things. So I found out that because I'm just getting older, I crave sweets. And there are points where I fucking got a 5-pound bag of peanut M&Ms and ate it like they were fucking sunflower seeds. This was years and years ago. And I sat there and looked at myself and I'm like, well, on the one hand, I can do it. I said when I was a kid, I was going to have as much candy as I wanted. But wow, I just put away a half a pound or, a pound of fucking M&Ms. And so I started understanding. I'm like, okay, what do I need to do? I need to change my hormones. I need to look at how I'm being dosed my testosterone, because it was every 2 weeks and I was going through this lull. And every time I was like, oh man, I'm fucking craving chocolate again. I feel like a woman on her period. And I can say that because I've known a lot of women who've talked about, man, I crave chocolate like a motherfucker. I'm like, how weird is that? I don't crave shit. Right? So how do I stay positive as I get older? Energy flows where focus goes. How do I stay positive as I get older? A lot of the things that I've said today in this broadcast are super important. Like, how do I stay positive as I get older? Be passionate about what it is that you're doing. Are you living or existing? I can tell you this, if you're existing, you're not going to be passionate. And I can tell you this, some days I struggle with my passion. I struggle with my positivity because I am getting, I'm like, oh man, And it's easy to go down that wormhole. It's easy to go down that rabbit hole. But it also, you just correct yourself. I'm like, man, I got today. I got right now. I got this moment. That's all I've got. That's all I've ever had is this moment. But yet I'm so living in the past and regurgitating fucking things that have happened all over my life to support why I'm a victim. Or I can be so worried about the future and consumed. And trust me, I can get there with the politics and the stuff and everything that's going on. It fucking makes me horribly sad and overwhelmed emotionally. So I have to better my emotional regulation. I have to limit what I expose myself to, both in my house and outside of my house, and to be very protective of that space, because this is what we get, who we surround ourselves, what we allow into our brain. I tell people all the time, have a music playlist that gets you happy. Have a comedy playlist that makes you happy. Have a list of movies that you can watch. Man, if I go watch Dumb and Dumber, I will feel better. If I go watch Caddyshack, if I go watch Stripes, if I go watch whatever it might be, or if I go listen to this music, will I feel better? If I go out and have lunch with a special person, right? But if you're consuming all this negativity and you're bringing in, oh my God, oh my God, oh my God, there's one thing to be in reality about what's going on in the world and be prepared, but it's also another thing to sit there and understand that whatever happens, you're going to figure it out. We all figured it out. Look back on your life. You figured it out. I figured it out. We've all figured it out. And we will. And it may suck. And sometimes maybe things have to get really bad before they get better. And I've heard a lot of experts say that's because I watch and listen to podcasts every single week about stuff that's going on in the world. And sometimes it has to get better before it gets worse. But here's my thing. When I think about staying positive, I truly believe that more than 80% of the people on this planet would all help and love each other out and would love to see the wealth shared and the opportunities shared. And so I don't look at the rest of the world as like, oh, you guys are against me. And if you wear that label or you have that hat or you live in that state or whatever label you want to put on it, then you're like that. I don't do that. I trust and love people. I will debate people and I will call them on their shit. But how do I stay positive as I get older? I enjoy my moments. I wake up every day with gratitude. I set the intention for who I'm going to be, what I'm going to be, how I'm going to be. I'm going to be present and playful with my son. I'm going to use my words and my actions to make this world a better place. I'm going to treat myself with love and respect. I'm going to make my wife feel special. I'm going to give love to my dog because I know he doesn't have many more months or years left. I'm going to make my moments count. I'm going to make my life count. I'm going to be doing the things that I want to do. Like I've said in this podcast over and over again, the different strategies. So don't watch the negativity. Don't have those people in your life that are energy vampires. Again, think about this. Age is inevitable. Growing bitter is optional. And the secret really is curiosity, staying open to what's next and not what's gone. And that's not easy, but it is doable, right? I'm like that last decade of my life, I'm thinking about that. It probably won't be 80 to 90. And that's somewhat negative, but I'm realistic. I'm like, hey, maybe it's 70 to 80. Maybe it's 75 to 85. And that's still frightening. I can't imagine myself 85 years old. I don't know how my son will be. He's maybe in his 30s. But I also don't envision myself being, I don't know. That's a conversation for another thing. So anyway, here are your exercises, or here's your self-study questions for this one. What am I proud of that age has taught me? So what am I proud of that age has taught me? What parts of my life am I still curious to explore? Right? Get into gardening, get into painting, get into singing, get into music, get into whatever it might be, get into Legos. I don't know. Get into drawing, sketching, do something. How do I want to model aging for those who look up to me? Again, what are you doing? What examples are you setting for other people? Right? And I've seen this, like people who live in blue zones and whatnot. Relationships are one of the key factors to longevity and happiness. Relationships. And I will sit here and raise my hand. Am I great at my relationships, my personal relationships? No. I'm very much a lone wolf. And I mean, I'm good at reaching out to people and trying to get together and connecting. But that's something definitely I need to work on. And I think about that often. So there you go. That's another episode of the Raw Unscripted Show, ladies and gentlemen. So again, if you are interested in working with me, coaching with me, please reach out to me. If you never had a coaching session with me, please, I will gift you one because you made it all the way to the end of this broadcast. So wherever you're at in the world, reach out to me. Christopher@ChristopherRausch.com is an email you can send to me. info@noexcusescoach.com. Of course, on social media everywhere. So please, if you dug this episode, share it out. Share it out. I will be back here next Tuesday, 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, live on the video cast. You guys can always check out the video cast on youtube.com/the Christopher Rausch. Or if you just want to find anything, go type in the little pound symbol, hashtag no excuses coach, just one word, and I will show up everywhere. So with that, I love you guys. I appreciate you. Stay kick-ass unstoppable. And